Hi, in this session I will explain about cursors and result sets. First let's talk about cursors. These cursors are used to iterate through the rows of a table or a view or a result set, one row at a time. Suppose I have some 1 million rows in a table or in a view. I want to process each and every row. Suppose I have an employee table. I have 1 million rows in that employee table and I want to perform some calculations, or I want to perform some condition validations, or I want to do some looping. For every employee I want to repeat a set of statements. In that case, how to do that row by row processing? Okay, so in that scenario, these cursors are very useful. So mostly we use these cursors to do row by row processing of data. Okay, so how we do? Let's see with the examples in this session itself. Okay, first of all, let's talk about how to use a cursor. So it's simple. We have to declare a cursor in the declaration section. Okay, and we have to open that cursor in the body of the procedure, then fetch one row at a time and process that row. Okay, once the cursor is finished processing all the rows, then close the cursor. Okay, let's discuss in detail about these steps. So first, declare the cursor. So we have to declare a cursor and we have to assign a query to that cursor in the declaration section, or we can do that in the body section by using let. We'll see with the example this one. Okay, so first step is declare. We have to declare the cursor. Okay, then we have to open that cursor. So this is not a mandatory step. That means in the body of the section, so it's not mandatory to open the cursor and do row by row processing. Even we can do row by row processing directly without opening a cursor. But this is very useful. The open cursor is very useful. Suppose if I want to pass some parameters at the runtime, suppose I want to process that cursor dynamically. In that case, we have to open this cursor. Suppose I have some 10 tables to process. So I want to pass each and every table at the runtime. So in that time, this open cursor is very useful. We'll see this with example as well. Okay, so after opening the cursor, so we have to fetch the data from cursor, that means row by row, and process that row. Okay, this step is also not mandatory. Okay, I will explain you. Then close the cursor after going through or processing all rows. So whenever we open, so we have to mandatorily close that cursor. Suppose if you are not using this open cursor command in your program, then this close cursor is not required. But if you are using this open cursor, then it's mandatory to close at the end. Okay, so this is about cursors, and let's see how a simple cursor look like and how to open a cursor at runtime. So this is a simple cursor. Okay, so I'm declaring in the declaration section. Declare. So C1, this is a variable name of cursor type. So we declare like variables like integer type, varchar type, date, timestamp type, right? Like that we can open, or we can declare a variable of cursor type. Okay, I'm declaring a variable called C1, okay, of cursor type. And what is my cursor definition? This is my cursor definition. So select employee ID and salary from employees table. Suppose if there are 100 records in this employee table, then this cursor will contain employee ID and salary of all those 100 employees. Okay, so this is how we can declare. So if we want to declare the same cursor in the body of the program, then we can do that by using let command. Okay, let c1 cursor for, so the same query we have to write. Okay, so this is a simple cursor. So if I want to open cursor dynamically, okay, how to do? Let's see. So opening cursor at runtime. So declare. So in the declaration section, what I am doing? So cursor is a, I am declaring a variable with the name cur of cursor type for, okay, we have to use this keyword for select employee ID salary from table of, okay, where department equals to. So if you see, I am not mentioning the table name and the department name or department ID in the query. So in the runtime, I want to pass these values. Okay, that's why I'm using a bind variable here. So we call these question marks as bind variables. That means we pass the values for these question marks at the runtime. Okay, and I'm declaring another variable of integer type department ID, and the default is 10. So now how can we pass this table name and department name at the runtime? Okay, so see this. So in this case, I told you, right? So open cursor is mandatory when you want to open a cursor dynamically. So here I am opening the cursor. Open cur is the variable I have declared using employees comma department ID. So if you see, there are two bind variables, right? Here one and here one. Okay, so I have to pass two values to these bind variables while opening the cursor. So open cursor using this employees. So this will be in the order. The first question mark will be this first value, second question mark will be second value, like that. Okay, so I am passing the table name as employees. Okay, and department equals to department ID. So what is the value of this department ID? So I'm defaulting it to 10. So for the so it will consider the department ID as 10. So whenever you execute these statements, how the cursor will work? Select employee ID comma salary from, so employees table where department equals to 10. So it will become like that. So when we open this cursor with these values, the cursor definition will be like that. Select employee ID comma salary from employees table where department equals to 10. So here I am using table literal. I explained you table literals in the previous session, right? Table of something. So table of a string literal. So the string literal value is employees. Okay. So these we called as a table literals. I have explained in the previous sessions. Okay. So once the processing of all rows is completed, so we have to close that cursor. Okay. So this is how we can open and close cursor at the runtime. That means dynamically. Suppose I have a simple query like this: employee ID salary from employees, right? I don't need to mandatorily I don't need to open this cursor and close this cursor. We can directly use these cursor variables in our body section. Okay, so this is about cursors. Now let's talk about result sets. What is a result set? A result set is a SQL data type that points to the results of a query. That means whenever we execute a SQL query, it will return some results, right? Those results will be stored somewhere. If we want to access those results of a query, in that case, this result set is very useful. As a result set is just a pointer. If I want to access the query results by using this result set, there are two ways. The first one is by using a table literal, by like a table of the result set name. So that we can access those result set, the query results. The second one is iterate over a result set by using a cursor. Okay, so I told you, right, in just now I explained. So what is a cursor? If I want to do some row by row processing of a table or a view or a result set. So if you see the cursor definition, if I want to do iterate through the rows of a table or a view or a result set, this cursor is useful. So this is another way. By using cursors also we can access the row by row of this result sets. So now don't confuse. What is the difference between this result set and a cursor? For a cursor, the query is executed when we open the cursor or when we access the cursor using loops. But for a result set, the query is executed when we assign the query to result set variable itself. So don't confuse. The difference is, suppose this is our cursor, right? So here I am declaring a cursor of C1, and suppose here, come to the second example. Here I am assigning a cursor CUR, okay, for with this query. Select employee ID salary from this table where department equals to. So when we assign the query, so it will not be executed. When this will be executed, when we open a cursor and execute the statements, at that time the results of this query will be assigned to a cursor. But in a result set, when we assign the when we assign the query to the result set, that time itself the query will be executed and the results will be assigned to that result set. So don't confuse. Okay, hope you understood. Otherwise, let me explain again. Okay, so this is my cursor definition, right? So whenever I define this cursor like this, immediately the results of this query will not be assigned to this cursor. Whenever we open that cursor and whenever at the time of processing, okay, it will be the query will be executed and the results will be assigned to that cursor. But for a result set, it is different. Okay, so the query is executed when we assign the query itself. That means at the time of assignment of a query to a result set variable itself, the query will be executed and the results will be stored. That means the pointer will be stored in that result set. Okay. If we want to return a result set, first we have to convert it as a table and then return it by using a table literal. That means suppose my output of my program is a result set. That means I want to return not a single value or not single string. I want to return a table type. That means rows and columns. In that case, if I want to return a result set, we cannot directly return that result set. So first we have to convert it as a table and return it. So how to convert it as a table? So I already explained. By using table literals we can do. So what is table literal? Simply table of the result set name or the variable name or string literal. Okay. Suppose the in the same like that, if I want to return the results of a cursor, so how to do that? So we cannot directly convert that as a table and we cannot directly return the cursor. So what we have to do? First we have to convert that cursor into a result set and then use a table literal over that. Suppose if I want to return a cursor as the output of my program, so this is how I can do. A result set from cursor. So this is a function. This will convert this cursor into a result set and on the top of that I am using a table literal. So table of result set from a cursor and this is the cursor name. Okay, this is how you can return a cursor as output of your program. Okay, so this is about result sets. So don't confuse whenever I explain you with examples, right? That time most of your questions will be or most of your doubts will be cleared. So after going through the practical video, again come back to this PPT video and watch one more time so that you will better understand. Okay, so first watch through this video, then watch the practical video, again come back to this theory video, then you will better understand. Okay, these are very important. That means in every program you use either a cursor or result sets. Okay, okay. So how to declare and how to assign a query to result set? Let's see. So declaration is simple. So declare a variable of result set type, and if you want to assign a query here itself, then you can by using this default keyword you can put. Suppose when I am assigning here, okay, select employee ID salary from employees. This will be executed here itself. Okay, and this will be stored in the pointer to this results will be stored in this res variable. Okay, there is another way to declare by using let keyword in the begin section in the body section. Okay, let the variable name of result set type and we can directly assign a query like this by using assignment operator. Okay, suppose at the runtime if I want to assign a query, okay, so how to do that? Or in the body section if I want to assign a query, how to do that? Let's see. Assigning query to result set. So here I am simply declaring two variables, result set 1 and result set 2, both are of result set types, and I have a query of varchar type. These are all variables. Result 1 and 2 are variables of result set type. Query is of varchar type. Column 1 and column 2 also varchar type. Okay, so in the begin section what I am writing, result 1 equals to select employee ID comma salary of employees. So immediately this query will be executed and this variable will store the pointer of this results. Okay, It is very simple. Suppose if I want to assign this query dynamically at the runtime, so how it is possible? Suppose here I have two variables, column 1 and column 2, right? I am hard coding the column name. Column 1 equals to employee ID, column 2 equals to employee name. And my query is, okay, first I am preparing a query. Select column 1 concatenation, comma, column 2 from employees table. Okay, so I'm just preparing a query here, not executing. So how to execute this now? So by using execute immediate statement, we can execute this whatever is there in this query variable. So I'm executing that. So whenever execute immediate this one, so what it will do? It will execute a query. Select this employee ID, comma employee name from employees table, and it will assign the results to this variable result set of this result2 is a type of result set variable, right? So the pointer to this results will be assigned to this variable. Okay, and if I want to return this result1 or result2 as the output, so what is the syntax? Return table literal of this result set 1. Okay, so this is how you can declare a result set. This is how you can assign a query to a result set, and this is how you can return a result set as output. Okay, so let's see the same with examples, cursors and result sets with some examples so that you will better understand. Okay, okay, let's see these cursors and result sets with small examples. I have the code ready in Notepad. I am copying it to Snowflake editor. Okay, so let's see the first example. So instead of writing a procedure, I am using a execute immediate block for this. Okay, so the requirement is find the total salary of sales department. So for this, I want to write a block of code by using a cursor. Okay, so total salary. Suppose if there are 100 employees in the sales department, I want to calculate the total salary. So we can write this by using a simple SQL statement as well. But to give a demo on cursor, how the cursor works to process row by row, I am taking this example. Okay, so our requirement is find the total salary of sales department. Okay, so I'm running a execute immediate block. So here I'm declaring a variable c1 of cursor type. Okay, and so the query for cursor is this one. Okay, what I'm doing here, select department name. Okay, there are two tables, department and employee. Okay, so by joining these two tables, I need to find out, okay, total salary of sales department. So I'm selecting the data from these two tables. Okay, so from HR employee database, HR data schema, and employees is a table. Okay, I'm joining this with the departments table based on the department ID, which is a common key between these employees and department tables. And we have to find out the salary for only total salary only for sales department. That's why I'm writing where upper of, okay, department name equals to sales. Why I'm using upper keyword here? Because the department name can be anything, like it can contain small letters, capital letters, first letter, capital letter. So let's convert everything into a single form. So I'm converting this into a upper, and I'm just using all uppercase letters here for comparison. So upper of department name equals to sales. So what this query will fetch? Okay, it will fetch, okay, the salaries of sales department. Now we have to find out the total of those salaries. So the requirement is total salary. That means I need to sum up all those salaries. So I am declaring some more variables, department name as varchar, salary as integer, total salary again integer, and the default value is 0. Okay, so first time this total salary will hold a value of 0. Okay, and here in the begin black, okay, so if you see here, I am not using uh, uh, open cursor and close cursor. I am directly using this cursor. So what is our cursor? C1. So I am writing a loop. I already told, right, if we want to fetch the data from cursor, so we have to use for loop. For record in. So record is something like for I in we say, right, iterator. Okay, for record in C1. So here it has so many records. Okay, I want to I want to process row by row. That's why I'm saying for record in C1 do. Okay, so department name equals to record dot department name. So what is record dot department name? So what is record? So record is the C1. So in C1 what is department name? So we are only calculating the total salary for sales department. So our department name will be like sales. So in the department name variable the value sales will be stored, and salary equals to record dot salary. So here if you see we wrote this query, right, e dot salary. So the record dot salary we are assigning it to a variable called salary, and I am calculating total salary. Total salary equals to total salary plus salary. So what is the initial default value of total salary? 0. So 0 plus, so for the first employee whatever the salary we are fetching here, it will be summed up 0 plus that salary. Okay, again it will come, the loop will continue with the second row. Suppose if there are 100 employees in the sales department, so this loop will run for 100 times, and it will fetch the 100 salaries of all 100 employees, and it will be calculating the sum of all those 100 employee salaries. Okay, like this you can write, you can access the data from a cursor by using a for loop. Okay, so at the end, once the cursor is completed, it is done with all calculating the total salary of all 100 employees. Okay, so it will come out of this loop, and finally we are return total salary of, okay, so department name. So I'm using a variable here. So what is the department name? It is sales. Total salary of sales department is, okay. So finally whatever the value stored in that variable total salary, it will come here. So let's run this, you will understand. Okay, so I'm running this. Okay, so it is saying total salary of sales is this much. Okay, so what is this? 2,97,700 rupees. So if you have doubt this is correct or not, you can simply write a query like select a sum of salaries from this employee table where department name equals to salary. Like that you can write a SQL statement and you can check. Okay, so this can be written by using a simple SQL statement, but for your understanding, for demoing this cursor how it works, I wrote a block of code like this. Okay, so the next one is, so if we want to only for sales, we can write a block of code like this. But if I want to calculate this for each and every department, or for the department whatever I need, okay. So if there are 10 departments, I cannot write 10 blocks of code, right? So what I have to do, in the runtime I have to pass this department name, and for that department I need to calculate sum of salaries. Okay. So our next requirement is that find the total salary of given department, not a particular department like sales department. Okay, find the total salary of given department. So if you see here, I am writing a stored procedure for this. Okay, so I am writing a procedure in the employee database procs schema, and this is my procedure name, and I am giving a, I am passing a argument department of varchar type. Okay, I am writing this in the SQL language. Okay, it will return a type of varchar. So here I am using the same block of code but in a different way. So what I am doing here, I am declaring a variable C1 of cursor type, and the same condition I am writing here. But so whatever I use, right, the same query I am writing here, but instead of hard coding the sales department, I am saying, okay, upper of a bind variable. That means at the runtime whatever you pass, okay, suppose here I am passing sales department, it will come here while opening the cursor. Like that you can calculate the total salary of any department. Okay, so here I am just uh, assigning this query to this cursor, C1 cursor. Okay, but I am not executing this. Okay, so I am declaring again the same variables, department name of varchar, salary and total salary of integer type, and the initial value of total salary is 0. Okay, so here if you observe, I am not using this cursor directly, because this cursor is not a fixed one. So dynamically we can pass the values because we are supplying bind variables here. right? So I am opening the cursor. So I told you, right, when at the runtime, if you want to open a cursor, so you can open the cursor by using a keyword called open. So whatever the cursor C1 using, so we have to pass the bind, we have to supply a value for this question mark bind variable. So I am passing this department. So what is department here? Whatever the argument of the stored procedure. So it will come here. So now the query will become like select all this where upper of department name equals to upper of, okay, whatever we supply the department name here, it will come here. Okay, so again it will do like it will assign the department name to this variable and salary to this variable, and it will calculate total salary as a total salary plus salary. And once it is done with processing of all employees salaries, okay, it will come out of this for loop. Okay, and here if you see, when we open the cursor specifically, uh, when we open this cursor explicitly, we need to close that cursor as well. So I am closing this cursor C1, and finally I am returning total salary of the given department is whatever the value finally calculated here. Okay, suppose let me create this procedure. Okay, so I have created this procedure. Now we can supply any value to this department. It will simply calculate sum of salaries of those department. So here if you see, I'm calculating sum of salaries of 3 departments. Okay, I'm running the same procedure but with the different department names. So here if you see, I'm passing all initial letter is capital letter. Here if you see, both all the characters are capital letters, and if you see, it is mix up of capital and small letters. Okay, so what however you give here, uh, as we are converting it to uppercase, it will take care. Okay, so let's run this, call this statement. Okay, so the same value. So here also we got the same value, right? 2,97,700 in the above program also. So here also we are getting the same value. Suppose if I want to calculate the total salary of IT department, just to pass value as IT and run this, call this stored procedure. Okay, it is something like 28,800. Okay, so if I want to calculate the sum of salaries or total salary of marketing department, run this. Okay, so this is only 19,000. Okay, like this you can calculate the total salary of any department very easily. Okay, so this is how you can use cursor. So this is a simple cursor, but here we are opening that cursor at runtime by passing a values dynamically. Okay, so hope you understood. I am saying again and again, these cursors are very important in real time. But the only issue with cursor is, suppose if I have 10 million rows in any table, and if I want to process all the 10 million rows, so this loop will run for 10 million times. Just assume each iteration takes 1 second also. This will take almost 10 million seconds. That is a huge. So the performance will be very bad. So you have to avoid using cursors for large data sets while processing large data set, unless until it is mandatory. If you feel there is no other way we can process it, then only go for cursors. Okay, but sometimes if you are dealing with small data sets and you have to use cursors for sure, then go ahead and use cursors. Okay, remember this point. This is a performance issue. So if you have a very big data set and if you want to process row by row, so try to avoid using cursors. Okay, so we have seen cursors. Now let's see how a result set works. Okay, so here my requirement is find top n salaried persons of a given department. Okay, suppose if I give sales department here, and if I say I want top 3 salaried persons, that means the name of a person who is getting top salary, second highest salary, and third highest salary. So where n is n, if I pass 3 in the place of n, it will get top 3 highest salaried persons. So I want to write a program for this. Okay, let's see how we can write by using a result set here. Okay, so Here I am writing a procedure in the employee database procedure schema, and this is the my procedure name, and two arguments for this procedure is department name and n. That means if I want to calculate the top n salaried persons, it can be 2, 300, whatever it can be. Okay, I have to supply that argument as well. I am using two arguments, department name and n. Okay, and I have to return a table, right? Because top n salaried persons. That means I need both person name and salary of that person, right? That's why we cannot return simply a varchar like in the above program. Here I need a table because I need to return two things. One is uh, the name of the employee and his salary, right? So that's why I'm returning a table of employee name of varchar type and his salary of integer type. Okay, so here I am declaring only two variables, result res of result set type, okay, query of varchar type. Okay, so I am writing a code like this, query equals to, so simply I am writing one SQL query that will get the top three or top n salaries. Okay, so I have explained this multiple times in my SQL codes. Let me explain one more time how to get this. So so just observe this internal block of code. Here what I am doing, I am fetching employee first name, last name, salary, and I am calculating a rank over department ID and order by salary in the descending order. So what this dense rank, this window function will give the rank based on the highest salary, then second, third, like that. It will so based on the salary for each department, it will assign the ranks. Okay, so then also I am calculating this where the department name equals to given department name. Okay, upper of department name equals to upper of whatever we are passing here. Okay, so this will give the internal this query, this subquery will give um, employee name, salary, and rank of that salary. But we need only top n salaries. So that's why I'm writing upper query on this subquery. So what I'm saying, select first name concatenated last name. So I don't want to fetch both first name and last name. I want to fetch as a single name like employee name. So that is the concatenation of first name and last name and salary from this subquery where rank less than or equals to n. Suppose if we pass n as a 4, that means we need only top 4 salaries. That's why I'm saying rank less than or equals to 4. Okay, that will fetch only 4 salaries. Okay, so now this is my query. I am preparing a query like this. Okay, what I am saying, execute immediate this query. Whatever the query I have prepared in the above statement, I am simply executing that and assigning this result to a variable res, right? This is of result set type. So I am preparing a query. Okay, I am executing that query and assigning the result to a variable called res. Okay, and I am returning finally result set. So we cannot directly return a result set. We have to convert it as a table by using table literal table of and return it. Okay, so this is my program. So hope you understood how we are using result sets. It can store a result of a query. It will not exactly store, but it will point, it will store the pointer for this results and it will return. Okay, so let me create this procedure. Okay, now let's see. Okay, so in the my requirement is I want to calculate uh, top two salaries of top three salaries of sales department. So what I have to supply to this procedure, call this procedure with sales department and top three salaries. Okay, so if I run this, okay, you can see. Okay, so he is holding the highest salary. Okay, of 14,000. Second highest salary is 13,500 and third is 12,000. Okay, so we are getting top three salaries. Next, I want to calculate top four salaries of IT department. Okay, so run this command. Okay, see here you can see 5 rows because there will be some duplicates as we are using rank, so it will fetch the duplicates. Dense rank, it will fetch the duplicates as well. That means the rank will be duplicate, but it will assign a different rank for that. Okay, so here, even though we are saying 4, we are getting 5 because of duplicate salaries. Okay, same salary for two persons. Okay, so here you can see. Okay, so the highest salary, second highest, third highest, fourth highest, all this belongs to IT department. So I want to calculate top two salaries of finance department. So simply run this, and these two are the top two salaries of finance department. So if you write a program like this, and you can call this for any number of any number of times with the different departments and different highest salaries. Okay, simple. So I'm showing you simple examples for now. At the end, once I'm done with the explanation of all concepts, I will go through some important procedures which we use in real time. Okay. So this is about cursors and result set. Hope you understood. If not, go back to the theory video and watch it one more time. You will understand easily. Okay. Thank you.